Welcome to the 2.0 conference in Las Vegas. My name is Maria Fuentes, and who do I have the honor speaking with today?
Hi, Maria. My name is Dr. Dario Sforza, and I am the superintendent of the Carlstadt-East Rutherford Regional High School District called Becton Regional High School in northern New Jersey.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. So, I do
Thank you
have
for having me.
a few questions um, to ask you. So, the first question is so, you are an Education 2.0 conference nominee. So, how does it feel to receive the recognition for your accomplishments?
I think recognition is certainly always something that's welcoming in our field because it's often a field that kind of goes unnoticed.
Right.
But we don't go into the profession for recognition. We go into the profession for to make an impact.
Hmm.
So whenever we do receive some type of accolade or recognition like this, I always like to say it's part of our entire team's efforts,
Right.
and it's recognition for all of our students, not just for one individual.
I love that. Yeah, I definitely agree. That's amazing. So the next question I have for you is what advice would you give someone wanting to follow your exact footsteps?
I think advice I would give somebody that wants to follow in being an educational leader that truly implements transformational change is they need to be extremely courageous.
Mm,
They need to lead with conviction. They need to set aside their short-term comforts for long-term success. They
right.
need to make bold moves. They can't wait for permission to be innovative or creative.
I love that.
And at
Yeah.
that point, especially when students' lives are on the lines, and for me, I say lives literally because I believe education is liberation. It's something
Yeah.
that can free both
Wow.
students in the short term and the long term, regardless of home environment. And the individual at the top is the one that can implement and effectuate that change in ways that might not be able to be done from the bottom up.
I love that. That's such a powerful explanation. I love that so much. And so, how has your learning and networking experience been so far at the Education 2.0 conference of 2025?
So personally, for me, and I've told the conference leaders that the Education 2.0 conference, just like previous conferences, are some of the best conferences that I've been to. I mean, you're
Yeah,
talking with
yeah,
thought leaders from around the world.
yes,
So for me, when working with educational leaders in sort of the same environment, and for me, it's in northern New Jersey, we have tons of individuals with that can bring high value to the table, but we're
yes,
sort of in this bubble, right, of our
yeah,
own specific counties.
right,
And what Education 2.0 does for me, it allows me to get talk to individuals from all over the world and get a different perspective on how to implement positive change for students from diverse different backgrounds. In addition
yeah,
to listening to, as I said earlier, thought leaders that present practical, not only theoretical, but practical strategies that I
yeah.
can take back with me and add to my little Rolodex of leadership strategies.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. Okay. So, with that being said, where can others reach you for collaborations and advice?
So they can follow me on X at Dr. D Sforza. They can reach me on LinkedIn, Dr. Dario Sforza on LinkedIn, or they can simply email me by on my professional work email, dsforza at bectonhs.org, and we can certainly collaborate more from there.
Amazing. You guys heard it here, okay? You know where to reach them out. Awesome. The next question I have for you is how has your first generational upbringing shaped your leadership journey? And in what ways do you channel that personal history into inspiring change within the educational landscape?
So, when growing up as a first generation child, you often kind of highlight the struggles that you have
Right.
without really understanding the impact that it's going to make on um, your future career.
Yes.
The adversities that come with being a first generation child, not speaking English as a first generation, as a first language,
Yeah.
growing up in a home environment that may not have access or resources like other children have.
Right.
Those things that may have seemed as barriers at the time have now become my superpower.
I
and
love
and
that.
I think that component of being is something that I would never change.
Yeah.
It's something that certainly has built my leadership style, being able to be somebody that I needed when I was young. And always seeing the faces on my first generation students when I told them that
Yeah.
I myself was in their shoes not too long ago. And there's something special about them that I see. There's a hunger and a drive that just
Yeah.
can't be matched, and maybe that comes from a lack of entitlement. But that's yet to be researched, and maybe it's certainly something that we could research in the future.
Wow, I love that. That's so empowering. I love that. Now, second question, or second to last question. In transforming your district through bold incentives and innovative partnerships, what has been the most unexpected lesson you've learned about leadership? And how has it influenced your vision for the future?
I think one of the most unexpected lessons of leadership is leadership requires action even in uncomfortable situations. There's no perfect condition for leaders to be able to lead effectively. And you can point to so many different examples. Our success with a global pandemic, we
Right.
knew that students needed us more than ever before, and we didn't wait for permission. We were able to implement components that allowed students to be educated in person 5 days a week.
Right.
We implemented steps years before that, foundational steps that broke down barriers for students to be able to learn different types of courses and electives that weren't present before.
Right.
And that eventually opened us up to a $40 million merger, which I'll be talking more about yesterday with another district, all because of a couple of things. And I said it earlier, there's 3 C's: courage, conviction. Those are the easy ones, right? You have to be courageous. You have to have conviction. You can't just give
Right.
up. But one of the most important things, and I heard it over and over again, is you have to care, right? And those 3 C's are so critically important. And
Yeah.
the care component is just going that little extra inch. That's all I tell my colleagues. That's all I tell my coworkers is go that extra inch, whatever it is. That extra inch will add up to miles of opportunity for children later down the road.
Wow. Whew. That is so empowering. I love hearing these responses from you. This is really, really,
I
really
appreciate the
empowering.
questions.
Of course. Now, the last question I have for you
Okay.
is if you could design an ideal educational ecosystem that embodies your core values and leadership philosophy, what would its defining characteristics be? And how would it empower the next generation of learners?
If I were to
That's a
define
good one.
a ideal education ecosystem, it would be one that has tremendous flexibility to allow for students to be creative, think critically,
Yes.
think strategically, transform and break down some of the traditional systems that we've had in place for over 100 years. I often tell people this: we're sending spaceships to Mars.
Yeah.
And building electric cars, but our education ecosystem is often operating like a horse and buggy. So we, as the educational leaders, need to look beyond that status quo and need to have that courage to be able to give our students the creative skills that they need to succeed in the future. So it would involve creativity, critical thinking. It would involve flexibility in the courses that we teach students. It would involve dabbling in the early stages for students in different types of programs and courses to build their skills,
Right.
so that we don't have these pockets of schools that are selected only for the elite, but anybody, no matter what zip code you live in, you will have that access to opportunity. I'm in public school. I believe we could do that in public school, and I've
Yeah.
already championed an initiative to do so, and I'm hoping that we can continue to do so.
I have I have faith for our future now.
Yeah.
I really do.
Thank you.
That's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
not only being here today, but for answering these questions and for doing what you're doing, because I know ultimately it is going to help future generations to come. So
Absolutely.
thank you so
And thank you
much.
for having me,
Of
Maria.
course.
Appreciate
And
it.
we look forward to seeing you hopefully next year for the 2.0 convention.
Okay. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Thank you.